Hey guys, how's it going? Anthony Muthurajah here, back with a new video lesson for y'all. Today I want to talk purely about arpeggios and some of the ways we can practice them efficiently on the bass. So arpeggios are basically chords broken up into their individual notes and played individually. So you won't do this, but you would do. That's what an arpeggio basically is. Right? Now, I know a lot of bass players tend to jump into seventh arpeggios and arpeggios with tension tones fairly quick without practicing triads. Triads to me are probably the most difficult because you have lesser notes to think about, which means the spread is more and you have to think a lot more, especially when you're running them in the form of an exercise. Alright, so first thing I want to talk about is trying to run an arpeggio for the trying to run an arpeggio through the neck, meaning hitting every note available in the arpeggio everywhere. For example, if I take E major, so E major is E, G sharp, B. I have an E, G sharp, B here, E, G sharp, B, and that's it, right? So it finishes on the B. Now, how do I get from here to here? Okay. Now, I did do a lesson before on how I practice scales, and I talk about how these two fingers take care of position switches. So if you have run out of space on a string and you end up with the pinky, you can play the next note with the first finger when going up, and then when you're going back down, the reverse order. Okay, so I'm going to do E, G sharp, B. Okay, now remember my target is this B, so E, G sharp, B. I'm going to switch to this E with the first finger, G sharp, B, and then E over here. Okay, and notice what I did here. I was on the E with my pinky, G sharp, and then the pinky went to the the B. Now, normally you wouldn't play like that if you were here already, but because we are coming from somewhere, okay, so okay, now it might look a little weird, but once you get used to it, it's actually very comfortable. Okay, so I do this with minor arpeggios as well. You can do that with augmented. Then you can do it with diminished. Alright, so do this with all the 12 tones, all the 4 kinds of triads, and eventually try to do permutations. Now, permutations is basically different number combinations. So if the triad is 1, 2, 3, you can do 1, 3, 2. Okay, now when I'm trying to do a different permutation, the fingering changes a little bit, right? I can do that, or just different variations really, because those 3 notes are available in quite a number of places. I'm not even doing the one here, right? So trying to access the whole neck with all the 4 triads on all 12 tones, and then doing permutations. Permutations is basically doing different number combinations, and do this just with triads until you can really be comfortable and really also have a smooth sound, because a lot of guys when they do arpeggios, it's always It's very it's very like short, but try to keep it as smooth as possible. Every note leads into the next. Try to develop a fluid, very smooth sound over it. Okay, so that is one way I practice, and then the other way is just doing 2 octaves and not accessing the entire neck. So let's say 2 octaves in A. So A, C sharp, E, A, C sharp, E, A. That completes the 2 octaves. Okay, so we have to go from here to here. So what we do is A, C sharp, E. We're just using these 2 fingers almost exclusively. Okay, so from the E we go to the A with the first finger, C sharp, E, A. Okay, just keep cycling that till it feels natural. Okay, and then just move it up in half step. One thing really quick, the goal of the exercise is not speed, it is dexterity, clarity, and comfort for your hands. They have to be comfortable while you do all this stuff. No matter how weird it looks, you need to find that sweet spot where you're not pushing yourself physically. Okay, so do it in half steps, you can do whole steps, you can do any way you want it to, really. You can go up one and then come back down the next. That's actually harder because you have to do quite a jump. Right? So there's no real right or wrong, but the idea is you are accessing more options, more available notes on the instrument instead of just position 1 octave and then trying to run around. Okay? Now the other thing I want to talk about, eventually once you are comfortable with these 2 ways of practicing, just triads, we go into 7th chords. So 7th is basically adding the 7th note in the sequence. So if I have C major triad, then the 7th will be B. Okay, and then you can do that in the key of C. All right, now that is very typical, just going up. And then what you can do is, instead of starting from the root again, you go to the 7th of the next chord. Now this is what Jaco does actually. Okay, and I'm speeding through it because there are many videos about this on the internet. I don't want to spend time on it. But eventually what you want to try to do is explore non-diatonic arpeggios in a similar fashion. For example, I can do something like that is basically C major 7, D flat major 7. But it has a smooth flow, so you don't hear this. That's corny. Like if I have an idea and I do something like that, but I can do, right? So I'm using the next available note closest to me to imply a different harmony. But because of the choice of starting on that particular note and coming down the arpeggio, it sounds fine instead of. To me, that's kind of corny, but if I do something like. That sounds very nice to me. Right? So that's with sevenths. And again, you can do permutations. Right? Now, there are no specific ways, there are specific ways to do permutations with seventh chords, but generally we have the most common ones would be or. Then what else do we have? We have 5, 5, 1, 5, 5, 1, 7, 3. Right? Now, some of the permutations might not sound so nice, some will sound good, and then some of them sound nice when you spread them. If I do something like. I love that. It still has that tonality. Right? So I usually just push myself and see what new ideas I can come up with. So that's what I was doing. All right, so to be very honest, that's about it with arpeggios. If you can have the discipline to get down the triads first in every way possible, and then get to seventh chords, and then eventually get to extensions, you will have a good, it's like a good rite of passage. You're not pushing yourself unrealistically, but you're pushing yourself in a good fashion and in a musical manner too. All right, so I hope you get something out of this, and I will see you guys in the shed. Peace.